If you want to know the complete step-by-step process to apply for permanent residence in Canada, then this video is for you. In this video, we will tell you the step-by-step process completely for applying for permanent residence under the Rural and Immigration Pilot. So if you're interested, stay tuned and watch this video until the end. Well-researched ongoing news updates and reports, resources and free advice and tutorials on how to immigrate to Canada. Too easy. We loved you to join tens of thousands of satisfied viewers on this channel. All you need to do is take 30 seconds to quickly subscribe and click the bell icon, and I promise you'll never miss out again. You really can fulfill your dream to immigrate to Canada. We are here to help you. Let's talk about the pilot. The Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot is a community-driven program. It's designed to spread the benefits of economic immigration to smaller communities by creating a path to permanent residence for skilled foreign workers and who want to work and live in one of the participating communities. There are several steps to apply for permanent residence under this pilot. The first step is to check that you meet both IRCC eligibility requirements and the community-specific requirements. Your second step is to find an eligible job with an employer in one of the participating communities. Then your third step, once you have a job offer, submit your application for a recommendation to the community. And your last step, if a community recommends you, then you can apply for permanent residence. Important things to note. Each community will also have its own additional eligibility requirements. The community will have its own job search process, community recommendation application process. This information will be available on its own website. Now, what are the eligibility to apply for the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot Program? How do you qualify? The first eligibility factor is that you must have qualifying work experience or have graduated from a publicly funded post-secondary institution in the recommending community. Remember, you need 1 year of continuous work experience in the past 3 years. You also need to have your work experience included most of the main duties and all the essential duties listed in your National Occupational Classification. Another important things to note are the exemption for work experience. You're exempt from the work experience criteria if you're an international student who graduated with, number 1, a credential from a post-secondary program of 2 years or longer, and you were studying as a full-time student for the full duration of the 2+ years, and you received the credential no more than 18 months before your application for permanent residence, and you were in the community for at least 16 of the last 24 months spent studying to get your credential. Another exemption for work experience is that when you're an international student who graduated with a master's degree or higher and you were studying as a full-time student for the duration of your degree. You got your degree no more than 18 months before your application for permanent residence, and you were in the community for the length of your studies. The second eligibility so you can apply for the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot Program is that you must meet or exceed the language requirements. There are minimum language requirements for each NOC category. For NOC 0 and A, you need CLB or NCLC 6. For NOC C or NOC B, you need CLB NCLC 5. For NOC C and D, you need CLB or NCLC4. The third eligibility requirements to apply for the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot Program is that you must meet or exceed the educational requirements. You must have a Canadian high school diploma or an educational credential assessment report from a designated organization or professional body showing that you completed a foreign credential that's equal to Canadian secondary school. The educational credential assessment report must be less than 5 years old on the date of your application. And if the report was issued by a designated organization, the original report must have been issued on or after the date the organization was designated. The fourth eligibility to apply for the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot Program is to prove you have enough money to support your transition into the community. Therefore, you must show that you have enough money to support yourself, including your family, after you get to Canada, unless you're already working in Canada and you're under a valid work permit. You cannot borrow this money from another person because you must be able to use this money to pay the cost of living for your family. And your proof can be one or more of the following: bank account statements, documents that show real property or other investments, documents that guarantee payment of a set amount of money payable to you. The amount of money you need to support your family depends on the size of your family. Remember, IRCC update these amounts every year. Say for example, for single applicant, you have to have the funds of about 8,000 to 8,922 in Canadian dollars. If you are 3 in your family, then you need 13,654, and so on. This will include those you support who are not immigrating with you when you count the number of family members or the number of family units. The fifth eligibility to apply for the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot Program is to intend to live in the community. And the sixth eligibility requirements to apply for the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot Program is to meet the community-specific requirements. Remember, each community will have additional requirements for applicants. So you can visit their websites to learn about their community-specific requirements. We have the general requirements such as, for all community applications, you must prove that you meet all the requirements for the pilot and you have an eligible job offer. So if a community recommends you, you can then apply for permanent residence. As a candidate, you must have a genuine job offer to work in one of the participating communities. In addition to the requirements on this page, each community will have their own requirements and job search process. To find a job, you must follow the instructions on their websites. Once you have a job offer and meet all the requirements, you can apply for a community recommendation. The job offer requirements are the following. First, the job must be full-time. Second, the job must be non-seasonal. Third, your employment is permanent. Fourth, the job must be full-time. Fifth, the wage must meet or exceed the job bank's minimum wage for your job offer's national occupational classification. Sixth, your experience must show that you can perform the duties of the job offered.
Are you an inspiring Canadian? An ordinary individual who has a dream to study in Canada? Or just simply a person who wants to visit in Canada? Good news is, our company is here for you. AV Lucky Immigration Solution is a registered and licensed immigration consulting firm based in Kitchener, Ontario. Our company handles all aspects of immigration-related services. Services such as assisting individuals in obtaining student, work, and visitor visas, including permanent resident application. We are dedicated to providing legal representation, expert advice, assistance, counseling, and information to those seeking professional immigration services to Canada. We also navigate the issues of illegal immigration and assist businesses in understanding immigration issues in a global marketplace. So what are you waiting for? You can book an appointment with us right now by dialing 519-208-6430, or you can simply email us at info@avluckyimmigration.com. In AV Lucky, we are affordable, efficient, and effective.
The skill level for job offer requirements must be at the same skill level. One level above or one level below the NOC that matches your work experience. Here are exceptions. If your experience is in NOC skill level D, then the job you're being offered must be in the same occupation. For example, NOC 0 job offer, work experience in NOC 0 or A. NOC A job offer, work experience in NOC 0, A, or B. NOC B job offer, work experience in NOC A, B, or C. NOC C job offer, work experience in NOC B or C. And NOC D job offer, work experience in NOC D. There are also community requirements. So you have to apply for a community recommendations. Each community has its own recommendation process, and community websites will tell you how the application process works and what the documents you will need to apply. So you have to visit each websites. Important note, when applying to a community for a recommendation, you'll be asked to provide supporting documents. So do not provide original versions. You'll need them when you apply for permanent residence. You do provide copies of your documents. The general requirements for all community applications, you must prove that you meet all the requirements for the pilot and you have an eligible job offer. If a community recommends you, you can apply for permanent residence. How do you apply for permanent residence? Very important. You have to make sure you are applying for the right program based on your previous work experience. If you apply for the wrong program and do not have the work experience required for that program, your application for permanent residence will be refused. Here are the steps to apply for permanent residence under this pilot. Step number 1, you have to check that you meet both IRCC eligibility requirements and the community-specific requirements. Second step, you have to get your checklist and forms. IMM 5987. Use this checklist to make sure you include all the forms and documents you need and place the checklist on top as a cover to your application package. The third step is you have to make sure forms for the employer are filled out. The offer of employment to a foreign national, IMM 5984. Please note the employer must fill out the form and give it to you to submit with your application. You must read and sign the declaration at the bottom. The fourth step is you have to make sure forms for the designated economic development organization of the participating community are also filled out. It's IMM 0112. And the fifth step is to make sure forms for you as a principal applicant are filled out. So, generic application form for Canada, additional dependence declaration if applicable, Schedule A, background declaration, offer of employment to a foreign national, Schedule 1, additional family information, supplementary information, separation declaration for minors traveling to Canada if applicable, statutory declaration of common law if applicable, document checklist, and the use of a representative if applicable. The sixth step is to pay your fees online. And the seventh step, submit your application. Please note, you mail your application to the centralized intake office in Sydney, Nova Scotia, Canada. Address it to Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot Program, Centralized Intake Office, P.O. Box 1500, Sydney, Nova Scotia, B1P0J4, Canada. The CIO will make sure your application is complete. If it is, the CIO will send it to a different office to be processed. That office will contact you if it needs other documents from you when it starts processing your application. If you have applied for permanent residence under the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot, you may also be eligible for a 1-year work permit. The work permit lets you work while your permanent residence application is being processed. To qualify for an optional work permit, you must have the following. First, you have an eligible offer of employment from your employer. Second, have a recommendation from a participating community. Third, be eligible to apply for a work permit. And fourth, have received an acknowledgement of receipt letter from IRCC. This work permit is only for the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot. It is valid for 1 year and only lets you work for the employer who offered you the job in the participating community. The work permits for spouses or common law partners. Your spouse or common law partner can also apply for an open work permit at the same time as you apply for your 1-year work permit. Their work permit will only let them work in the same community as you. You must apply online for the work permit and you cannot apply on paper. Please note, the application forms and process you need to follow depend on where you're applying from. Very important, if you're in Canada as a visitor only, you don't have a study or work permit, you need to select the outside Canada option.